to talk to my girl when she's done in his room, and she's crying, and she's holding her neck like she can't breathe, and yeah, just kind of a mess. And I knew what happened, but I had my girl talk to her and then explain to me what happened. And I said, okay, we need to calm this down right now before someone calls the police.
So, Tony, I want to first thank you for coming on here today.
All right. Thanks, John. You're welcome. And thanks for asking nicely.
No problem. You know, a lot of people have been waiting. I told them that you were going to come on. And for those of you who are watching, you guys know who Tony is. And for those who don't, Tony is a former lawyer. He turned into a fitness personality, and he's known to be very controversial. He was in some major films, documentaries, so he's well known in the fitness world, and he's known also for a lot of you for causing trouble online, which ends up getting him banned, which what he's dealing with now. He's on his, how many YouTube channels are you on, Tony?
It's about fifth channel, so maybe I start a sixth channel. If I want to start again, I have to choose whether I want to, do it or not.
Yeah, no, it's got to be difficult to always have the want to actually go on, because how demoralizing it must be when you lose your YouTube channel.
Well, I love making videos, so but the problem is, like, I give up a lot of my privacy by making videos. So it's really a balance between the benefit of what I believe people get from the education I give, or the entertainment or inspiration I give, perspective more than anything, and the risk to myself and my privacy. And if I start a new channel and it only gets a couple thousand views because it takes time to build again, then is it really worth giving up my privacy for making such a small impact? Before I made such a big impact with the documentaries I did and all the big YouTube channels going viral for so many things. It's like, wow, it's a lot of work, and it takes a lot of time to build it up again. It's time to decide if I really want to do it or not.
Yeah, which I'm gonna get into that in a little bit. But the first thing I want to say is, Tony, if you think about this, right, our circle, because we're friendly with each other. We have been over years. Leo, Boston Lloyd. We're all connected in pretty much the same circle. And if you think about this for the past year, okay, a little bit more than a year. First, Boston dies, right? And then Amin, who brought Leo into the fitness world, he introduced him. He was in prison, accused of murder. And then as he gets out, Leo comes to Thailand to do videos with you. He dies in your house. Then your YouTube channel goes down. You're stalked in Thailand because there's a reward out for more information on the death of Leo. And then your channel goes down. And last people know is that you were in Pattaya. Not in Pattaya, you were in Thailand. And people were stalking you. What has happened since then, and how are you dealing with this all?
I kept staying in Thailand because I just kept thinking things were going to get better and safer there. But it got to a point where I didn't think it was possible for a while now. So I'm in Philippines right now. And, Philippines is where I have two baby mamas that were living in Thailand, but they still come back to Philippines to visit family and stuff. So my stepdaughter is Miss Ormoc, which is like working her way up towards becoming Miss Philippines. And now she's preparing to compete in the next pageant to get to Miss Philippines. So she's now coming back from Thailand here with baby mama and my other daughter. So I had to pick a place to be. So I picked mostly based on family, and also I love Philippines. It was my second choice of place to live
Yeah, I
after
remember back in the
Thailand.
day when you made videos, you did so many on the Philippines and how it was a tough choice for you to choose between Thailand and the
Yeah.
Philippines. You didn't know which lifestyle you wanted to live. And honestly, in my perspective, I think Philippines is a better place to be because I heard the women are amazing there. I heard, they're one of the best women to ever have as a wife is in the Philippines. So I think personally, you did a good decision for your life, for your kids' lives. And then also, you got these assholes stop following you around over there because I don't think they're going to come to the Philippines, are they?
Oh, maybe, but it'll never be as bad as it was in Thailand. Like that was terrible. So even if I have to deal with some problems in the Philippines, that's okay. It's still better than it was in Thailand. Not that it's always going to be like that in Thailand. It's just right now because there's so much, this whole story about Leo was front page news in Thailand. So I became overnight famous in Thailand for not a good reason.
Yeah, I can't honestly, I can't imagine that. And thinking about Thailand, Pattaya, where you were living, you had those girls in the house. What happened to them now? Because obviously you probably left that home that you were in, the one that you were living in. What happened to those girls that were living there?
I was actually cutting most of the harem before Leo passed away, because Leo's one of the ways Leo was trying to help me was to clear out the old harem and get a new harem. So I was already making those moves, but this accelerated finalizing it. So the harem's gone, and it's time to start a new harem with everything that I've learned from doing like the David Bond immersion course, and the experience that I have, and then also with the new girl that's a bisexual, lesbian. So trying to adapt to her. So these are like the tools I've got now to start a new harem and hopefully not run into the same problems that I ran into in the last one that Leo was helping me clean up.
Well, that's been your dream anyway. You wanted to find the girl that's gonna like the other girls, and you don't have to get them drunk and do things to them to do things with each other. So now you have your dream over there.
Well, I don't have the dream. I mean, I have, to build a harem, you need like three girls. I
Yeah.
have one out of three. The first one's easy. I mean, you can get any girlfriend and say she's the first of a harem. The second one's harder, and the third one's really hard. Like when you get to three, then two start teaming up on the other one, and it's constant drama management, and so I have to not make any mistakes because I made so many mistakes with the last harem I couldn't fix them, and there's some mistakes you can't undo. So this is my opportunity to rebuild it again without making all the same mistakes. I do believe it's possible. I mean, a lot of my people say it's not possible to build a harem the way that I'm trying to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, I know people. I know a guy that has a harem, right? And I know how he does it, and it's not a way that I'm willing to do it. I've known a lot of guys that have harems, but the way that they do it, I don't want to do that way. So I'm trying to do it a different way, and I don't know if it's possible my way, but I'm gonna try one more
I mean,
time.
listen, man, in my experience in life with women, right? When you put too many together, the amount of drama that it brings, no matter how good you are to them, is something extremely hard to deal with. Even just dating two women, but bringing even more than one to live in your home and to be sexually active with you and each other. I mean, it's gonna be tough. So I don't know how you're gonna deal with it all, but I remember too, Leo. He didn't like those girls. Remember, you were saying he didn't like the girls you had in your harem.
Right. Yeah, he didn't like them because he thought they were ugly. He thought that they disrespected me. He thought that they weren't loyal, like they would turn on me in an instant, and that would, loyalty is the most important thing. It was the most important thing to Leo. So yeah, he just for all these reasons thought that this harem was just a liability, and he didn't get it. I mean, oh, he understood the harem for sure. He wanted a harem, but he wanted, loyal, beautiful, cooperative, respectful women, and he thought that my girls were none of
Well,
that. I
you
mean,
you know,
I'm not saying I agree. I was attracted to all my girlfriends. Attraction is a matter
of
of
course,
taste, and
taste. Yeah.
I like the Asian girls.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
he's Middle Eastern. I'm Middle Eastern, so I understood a little bit about his background and what he expects in women.
What? Wait, you're Middle Eastern. What Middle Eastern are
I'm
you? Like,
Lebanese.
how much of what?
Yeah, I'm half 50% Lebanese, 50% Syrian. So and I'm second generation. My parents are from there, so I understand because I'm from the cultural background of what of similar to how he was. I'm not Muslim, I'm Christian, but
Mm.
some of the values that people who are Middle Eastern have, and it's a very different mentality than it is in different Western cultures. So
Well, did you grow up with that culture or in
yeah, I
America?
did. Actually, Arabic was my first language.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So
Yeah, the real deal.
I was very sheltered growing up. It was hard for me to mix in with a lot of American kids just because I was so outside the box, you know. I didn't live in that world.
Man, you'd never guess by looking at you. You
Yeah.
look like all American
Yeah.
with the Elvis style and the
Yeah, you
hair.
know why? Because when I was a kid too, it's funny you bring up Elvis. As a kid, when I was in school, everyone was listening to heavy metal. They all had the long hair. You remember the heavy metal? They put makeup on, eyeshadow, all those things, right? Did you do that? No, you're a little
Yeah.
younger than me, so you probably didn't do that either.
No, I was a super conservative nerd. I wore my pants up to my nipples practically. I wore my socks up to my knees.
That's funny. Yeah, well,
Collared shirt
well,
only.
you know what though? Being an individual and not fitting in with the crowd is what I like anyway. Because I listened to Elvis during that time. They all made fun of me, but I didn't care. That's just always been me, you know. So I think it's personally better to not do what everyone else is doing. You know, that's just my mentality in
Mhm.
life. But I was gonna ask you, Tony, the last time. And first, I want to say, God rest Leo's soul. I know he was your friend, even though I had fights with him. I know you had fights with him. He was a hard person to understand, but I never held it against him. I know you didn't. God rest his soul. That's the first thing. And secondly, do you remember the last time you saw him? And what was your conversation like the last time you saw him alive?
The yeah. So the question is, what was my conversation with him?
Yeah, like the last time you
Uh,
saw him. Do you remember the last time you saw him? His mental state. Like, what was it like?
yeah. Uh, excited, happy, like more excited, more happy than normal. Um, energetic, alert, and the conversation was that I was going to go to the shooting range that day, so just kind of updating each other on our plans, and he wanted money for just go buy some weed at the weed shop and donuts. That's it. I mean talked a little bit about the girl the night before, but we yeah,
Which
yeah,
I'm going to
a
get
little
into
bit.
that in a little bit. So hold that thought about the girl because there's something recently that came out. I was going to say, after Leo died, right? First of all, let me ask you: do you miss Leo? Obviously, I would think you miss him. But how much do you miss Leo? Because he was close to you in his last days.
I mean, Leo was, I'd say, like a brother, like family, like part of me. Like his voice was in my head all day while he was living with me. If he wasn't talking to me, his voice was in my head, and it still is to a lesser extent. I actually want to preserve that because his perspectives were really valuable and helpful to my life. He kind of filled in. Um, it sounds so weird, but like I, how do I even say it? I, I mean, it sounds so gay, but he completed me.
I mean, it looked like
Like
that, Tony.
he literally was the parts of me that were missing.
Tony, on camera, when I watched your videos and your Instagram stories, and I'm sure a lot of people watch it, we were surprised about the chemistry you guys did have. You guys were on the motorcycle together. Remember running around town that I did that whole montage in the documentary I did? So, like, your chemistry, it showed on camera. And I think, Tony, that's why you've been, taking a lot of heat. Because after he died, I mean, you got to think about something. If you're in my house, God forbid, and something happens to you, like for me, the way I deal with things, I will be probably not leaving the bed for months and not speaking to a soul. That's how I deal with things, but I understand everyone deals with things differently. So after Leo died and you made the videos trying to explain the situation. You made like 2 or 3 videos. So people felt like they didn't see a lot of remorse in you, and the way that you came off, they didn't understand. So, can you explain a little bit about, and I understand that people show things differently and they remorse in a different way. Can you shed some light on how you were feeling during that time and why you made those videos?
Yeah, I think remorse is the wrong word, but I think maybe sadness is what
Sadness, yeah,
you'd
probably. Yeah,
expect
remember
to
English
see.
is not
Yeah.
my first language, so I make mistakes with words.
Yeah. So sadness.
Yeah.
I obviously had to compose myself for the video because my objective is to give as much objective information as possible to the audience about what happened without violating people's privacy, and then to make inferences based on what I know that I don't share. So like I wanted to give enough of a factual foundation so that people could understand some, because okay, the reason why I did the videos is because as soon as he passed away, there was someone, if not multiple people, pushing the murder narrative extremely hard
Well, I can
before
I
there
not
was any evidence.
well, not to cut you off, I can say, because I haven't said this before. As soon as the murder, well, I'm saying murder because that's what it appears like. That's what the family says. That's what the autopsy seems like it says. Okay. As soon as it happened, a reporter reached out to me an hour after I put my video out that Leo died, and they said, "John, did you see the photos of the murder?" And this was the actual Pattaya News. And they sent me photos, and they called it a murder. So now go ahead.
Mm-mm. So someone put a lot of effort and or money to push the murder narrative, and the in murder narrative was so strong and coming from so many different angles, based on such bizarre facts that weren't accurate. And I I asked a lot of people what their advice was, as far as, should I not say anything? Should I say a lot? Should I say a little? And the best advice I got was that, yeah, the family has a right to privacy, and I'm not under any obligation to give any information to the public. But Leo had a large following, and Leo's fans are important also. Like, he's a public figure, um, not just like an actor or something, but like he's someone that a lot of people felt connected to and looked up to and got information from. Well, I should say a lot of people hated Leo and didn't like him. But if you set those people aside, there's still a huge amount of people that still liked Leo and
And I
were
think,
like
people,
really
yeah, I mean,
concerned about
I
him.
think that a lot of people don't ever want to see a human being die like that. I mean, Leo had his bad things about him. I mean, us as humans, we all have those, right? And Leo was
Mm.
dealing with a lot of that backlash right before he died, from some of the videos I made, the things that happened with his ex-wife Lucy. So he was dealing with a lot of that backlash at the time, but no one wants to see somebody die like that. And I know that you didn't think that it was a murder, but Tony, looking at those photos, I mean, it was hard for people to believe that he wasn't murdered because, again, I'm not going to be descriptive in the photos, but if he did it to himself, like, what did he do? Like, bang himself in every wall in that bathroom? Like, it looked like a scene of chaos. So you can't blame people for thinking that way, and you're coming out and you were
It's
saying, Tony, it was self-inflicted, it was a manic episode. People had a hard time believing that, seeing those photos.
Yeah, I think if they saw the actual scene before, um, things were moved around and the media uh, took pictures the way they did, I think it was very obvious. To me, it was like obvious. I walk in and, oh yeah, it happened. Like, this is something that could happen, would happen someday,
Yeah.
and okay, it happened. And I just started thinking, like, how could I have stopped it? But I didn't think for a second it was murder when I found
I
him.
mean, honestly, if
And
I,
then
yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
it didn't look like murder when I found him at all. It looked like a slip and fall.
I
I mean,
mean,
the way his body was and the way, but but this is the thing. Like I tried to give a lot of information and just speak out my mind about everything I could think of to say. Like what I was saying before about the advice I was given. I chose to go with the advice to just give as much information as fast as possible before, like the crazy conspiracy theories came out, because there's no need for a conspiracy theory.
agreed.
I'm literally giving all the facts as much as I can without violating privacy. But if someone asks me at the time, like, okay, like I see in the comments on some of the videos, oh well, if it's a slip and fall or if it's a manic episode, then why this? Yeah, ask me those questions. But instead, like, the conspiracy theories just started mounting and
But Tony,
mounting out of control.
you know what I think? I think that when people saw that you wouldn't even be open to the idea that it could have been somebody who killed him, I think that's why they're like, Tony's making these videos that it's not possible, it's not possible. And so many people are thinking it is, looking at the photos. I think that was big part of the problem.
Actually, I am open. I'm still open to the possibility of murder. I'm open to any possibility, and I've run 100 different scenarios through my head, and each time I play it out, and I think, okay, does all the facts that I know match that or not? And then, I eliminate most of, I think it would be easier if there was a specific scenario, like, okay, if he was murdered, who do you think murdered him? Okay, then let's go down that path
Yeah.
and see, is that possible given all of the facts?
Yeah.
Because is it possible? It is possible. I just think it's extremely unlikely.
I mean, I think part of the problem is too, it's like somebody dies in your house, right? And you weren't in and out that weekend. You weren't there the entire time. You were with Connor. You guys were, I think Steve was in town. You guys were doing things. But those girls, they were usually probably there, one of them at least, that whole time. So like, I remember when my dog died. Okay, I have a little Chihuahua. He's like 10 pounds, right? And he died, and I had a big house at the time. I think it was like 4,000 square feet. And he died when I was sleeping. And I woke up and he was in the basement. Not the basement, but the downstairs of the house. I woke up to a smell that I never want to smell ever in my life again. So people are thinking, a lot of people know, unfortunately, what a dead body must smell like. And this is a human being. Even though the bedroom's closed, don't you think somebody would have smelled something? One of those girls would have smelled something coming from that room since he was there for 3 days.
This is a great question. This is what I I should have done a different format before. I shouldn't have said anything. I should have just had people ask me questions and I just answer the questions, because I never even thought of that actually until you just said it right now. And okay, so how, like, why wouldn't there have been a smell in the house? Because I would, if there was a smell permeating the house, I would have smelled it. I'm sensitive.
Yeah, have you
I
ever
have a
smelled
decent
have you ever
nose. I'm
smelled like a
sensitive to smell.
dead dog or anything like that?
Okay, when I opened the bathroom door, it smelled really bad. It was rotting flesh, and it was like, yeah, it's a smell that, I kind of get a hint of that smell sometimes, somewhere, like if I'm walking down a street and there's just something rotting, and yeah, it makes me kind of like, give me shivers. It's a eerie smell. Yes, there was a very strong smell. But in the bathroom there was a strong smell. The bathroom was hot and humid,
Yeah.
and the bedroom air conditioning was cranked up really high.
Uh-huh.
So the bedroom, I I I think the bedroom had a little, maybe the most smallest smell in it, but I think maybe because the air conditioning is on, and it takes the moisture out of the air. The air is very, very dry. I don't think when there's no moisture you can really smell very well. Like, the more humidity there is, the better your ability to smell. And also his room, his room door to the rest of the house is soundproofed, and it's airtight. No air can go in or out, and it blocks the sound to the room. And I had put the actually, did I put it on his door? I think he put it on the door himself, actually. No, or the maid put it on the door, I think. I can't remember. I put it on most of the doors because I put the soundproofing on a lot of the doors in the house, just a little bit, so that when you close the door, it doesn't make this slam noise,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Um, because if one of my girlfriends got mad, they'd slam the door and it would bother me so much. So I said, oh, okay, I'll fix this. I'll put a little bit of sound dampening on the door so
Yeah.
it cushions it so I don't have to listen to slamming doors. They can't, like, because they would do it on purpose. So, but he wanted soundproof because he liked silence when he worked, and I was kind of walking on eggshells in the house, like trying to be so quiet to the point where it's uncomfortable. And so I put the soundproofing, or I bought the soundproofing, and and that was there, so that blocked any possible smell that could have gone into the house.
But
And
see, Tony, it's questions like those that why people, that's why you've gotten so much backlash, I think, on it. And then also then the autopsy, I've seen it. I know not many people have seen it, and I know it's in Thai and it's hard to translate over, like Vigorous Steve said, and then also Lucy said. So it's not easy to translate over, but from what I seen and seen the initial translation, it could have be translated into murder. But I think we're going to be waiting on more results to come out to really know what happened. But I remember you just did a video with Amin Alai, and you did an interview with him. And in that video, you said there's some things about the death of Leo that you wanted to talk about that you think could have happened, but you don't want to respect his family, which I understand. But my question with that is, if it could take heat off you, why wouldn't you discuss it? Do you know what I'm talking about in that interview?
It's go time. It's time to take it off. It's go time. I got to jump off. Baby, it's go time. When it's y'all bedtime, I'm ready for showtime. Bring it back. Bring it back. Yeah, it's go time. It's time to take it off. It's go time.
Do you know what I'm talking about in that interview?
yeah, I try to think, like, what is my values to approach this from? Because if I'm scattered all over the place, then nothing nothing good is going to come out of anything. So I want to be as transparent and honest, but like my number one goal was to preserve what I feel like Leo's legacy was as my friend.
So you didn't want to
And
put
so
information. I'm
I
sorry.
wasn't so concerned with what the public thinks so much. I mean, I never thought the murder narrative would gain so much momentum, but it wouldn't have gained momentum unless there was one or a few specific people highly motivated pushing it and putting out misinformation. So I just didn't expect that. Um, so from the beginning, it's like, even before Leo passed away, my mission was to convince Leo to be more transparent and authentic and to become a bigger influencer than he could have otherwise with the persona that he had chosen originally. And the reason is because he chose a persona that's not, he chose a persona that he felt was the most able to grow in the mainstream. And he thought that that was going to take him the furthest. The problem is when it's not reality, eventually reality conflicts with the persona. And it did with his ex-wife, and it destroyed him.
Well,
It was
because
game
people
over
thought
for
he was
Leo.
a certain way because he preached certain things online: no drugs, no
Right.
alcohol. He loves Lucy; she's the sweetest angel in the world. She can never say a bad word about her. And then all those things came out about his personal life. That was a big problem. So he didn't show that side, like what you're saying. He didn't show that side of him, which we all know because we knew him. He flipped on all of us, so we knew that side of him, and he didn't show that to people.
It's it's more than just the temper thing, though. I mean, the online persona is almost a completely different person. Or no, it's not a different person. It's it's like, you know how you have different sides to
Of
you, and you're
course.
a different person with your girlfriend
Yeah.
than you are with business associates. You're a different person in the gym than you are at the sauna. You know, it's like you're a different person to different people, different audiences. Your parents, for example, you'd be very different to your parents than you would be to a guy
I
friend.
mean, and Tony too. I mean, like all of us, like I'm on camera, right? Like this is not. I would say this is about 90 to 95% me, and it's like 5 to 10% an act because we have to throw in an act in what we're doing. Otherwise, it's not going to be entertaining, right? So we all do that. So how much of his act? Maybe he had more of an act that he was putting on for camera than most of us or some of us.
Yes, but his real persona, his real personality was much more interesting, much more entertaining, and could have been a much greater benefit to society than the one that he packaged for the
Was it
mainstream.
similar to his personality in that zoo clip? Because me, I loved the way he was acting. He looked fun. He looked like he was having a good time. He was funny. In that zoo clip, was it similar to that?
That was anytime he's on camera, you know he prepares for the camera, and he's very picky about what goes out there because was concerned a lot about what people but the public think, and that worked. It works, right? But I'd say that was more natural. It was closer to it, but that was still very filtered.
Very interesting. And
I don't think the public has ever seen the real Leo.
which is sad.
Like
Which is
the
sad.
Yeah.
Now, Tony, you were talking about a lot of misinformation, right? That was going out, and it still goes out. I actually had a problem with it recently. Perrin, he's I think a new YouTuber. He's actually a fan of my channel. He had made a series of videos alongside when I did them, and at first, I wasn't happy with some of the things he did because some of it was misinformation, and it caused problems with what I was doing online. And I had talked to him, and he understood where I was coming from. And lately, he's been doing a lot more accurate things because I told him, you have a responsibility. Someone died. You're putting out information. We all, as people on YouTube, have a
Mm.
responsibility to give correct information and not to cause problems in investigations. So he's been doing a lot better things now. And he put out a video recently, I think it was the other day, on a news report that was in Thailand that I hadn't seen before. And he translated it and it put out information that I haven't heard before. And I think most people haven't. And that report said that the night, and this is where we're going to go back to what you told me about the last time you saw him. The report had said that he had got into an argument and supposedly physical altercation with the woman that was in his house the night before he died. There was strangling, there was hitting, and then later he denied doing it. Did you know about this? And do you have any information on it?
Yeah, it's been so long since I did the 3 hours of videos that's on the channel that got deleted
I do
too.
remember. See, this is the
So
thing. When Perrin made that video, I remembered and I had talked to him. I said, listen, I remember Tony. I can't remember which video it was because there were so many. I remember him discussing something about an argument or some type of something with a woman, but I couldn't remember it all because, like I said, there were so many things and I couldn't go back and look at it now. So if you can reflect back, because that could be a big key in what happened to him or could have happened.
well, you're thinking about like, okay, what could have happened? So if he was murdered, I mean, there's two different possibilities. He wasn't murdered,
Or he
and
was.
then there's all the different
Yeah.
possibilities after that.
Yeah, but
And
this
then
is
he
the thing,
was
Tony.
murdered, and if
That
so,
girl,
who did it?
yeah, go back a little bit. That girl that was there was I'm going to say sharmuta. Sharmuta in Arabic means hoe. I can get away with it without them ruining my video. You guys got him a sharmuta that night before, right? So this is who we're talking about, correct?
Yeah, yeah, and in some of these Asian cultures, it's normal. It's not a bad thing. It's not a it's a normal. I don't know how to. To Americans, it seems like a terrible, crazy, bad thing, but that's just because the culture and the media there. But in a lot of parts of the world, it's a totally normal thing. And to Leo, it's a totally normal thing. Um, so one thing I hesitate about talking about it too much is I have to go back to what my initial values and goal here real quick, John, so you can understand. I want to build and preserve and build Leo's legacy. Even before he passed away, it was the same thing. I wanted him to show his authentic self because I think he could do greater with it. And then I think he would be invincible, because if he kept going down this path with a fake persona, it's going to shatter. And shattered once, it's going to shatter again and again. He can't he's never going to be able to be as big as he deserves to be, or as the world needs him to be, unless he becomes authentic. Eventually his real personality is too extremely different from the persona, that it's just, there's a million things that could come up that would contradict it and just destroy his whole reputation.
So you didn't want to. So you don't want to put. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, kind of like I did with myself, I destroyed my own reputation. I just told everybody I bang ladyboys, I bang hookers, I want a harem, I whatever, I do all these chemistry things. Like I say all the worst things about me so that I don't have to worry about
I get that.
coming up and shattering.
So you're saying you didn't give too much information on that because you want to protect his legacy because of the whole thing with maybe Lucy, about his history with the woman. But I think that clue
that's not it. No, that's that part, like him and other women about, okay, to an extent, like if I really go deep on who Leo really is, Western world can't handle it.
Of course not. No, I know that. 100% I know that. Yeah. You saw what he did with the religions, with the different religions. He didn't want me going on Dave's show, and religion was part of it. And I understand where you're coming from. I really do. It's just that information, that piece of information, I didn't know about. I know a little bit about it, but I didn't know
about it. So I can talk about it, but I just want people to know that, like, because so many different types of people will listen to this, and some of them will love Leo, but they're loving a person they don't know or understand.
Of course.
And then some people will hate Leo, and they hate him because they don't understand his values, just because his values are different. They hate him for, like, the same reason why a Catholic would hate a Muslim or something like that, like prejudice, So I just wanted to get away from all that. And, when you watch a movie about someone, the reason why it's so interesting and you can learn so much is like this character development, where you get to see like the good about someone, the bad about someone, and all of that together makes a character. And my goal for Leo, because, okay, I was leading Leo down a path of becoming much more transparent and authentic.
Yeah.
And with that, I was taking the responsibility to help him defend that, because I know he was going to get a lot of heat. No matter what, he was going to do a lot of heat. But my advice was so strong to him on this. It's like, I'm willing to stake my reputation. I'm willing to invest money and time and energy to help you come out of your shell and be the real you. And so then the problem is, like, when he's not here, now how am I supposed to do that? Like, no one's even going to believe me who the real Leo was, other than like maybe if other people come forward who know parts of who Leo really was.
Yeah, I'm going to say, Tony, too, like with that whole thing, and I understand that the investigation is still going on. You were in Thailand, in Pattaya, like we're Americans, right? It's not an easy place to live in. Saying that, when I'm saying that, the reason why I'm saying that is because, like, your safety there. I mean, in reality, Tony, none of us know right now what happened to him, right? But if something did happen to him in that regard, something with the Sharmuta happened, maybe the pimp came, I don't like to make assumptions. I'm just saying your safety also has to be thought of, because they could have came after you, if that's the case. Okay. So I understand that must be on your mind as well.
Yeah. I know that's what you would think, but no, that part of it is not. I don't feel fear for my safety from that part of it. But again, the only reason I hesitate talking about the girl thing is because, and I did already mention it sometime. And obviously
you did mention it. Yeah, you did. I just don't remember 100%. And when that report came out, I'm like, what the hell's going on? And then everyone's DMing me. They're like, dude, did you know about this? Even I talked to Lucy. She didn't know about this.
Yeah, I can tell you, and you can ask questions. But the reason I wanted to lay the foundation also is because, for example, if Lucy's listening, it only benefits Lucy if if people really understand the real Leo. The risk is if people if I explain some of this stuff and they don't really understand, then it causes a huge frenzy of negativity and attacks on his legacy. That is exactly what I was trying to avoid. Because if he's here, I can work it through it with him and I can have him come out and be more authentic and people would really appreciate it. But now it's like, how do I do that when he's gone? My goal is, when he passed away, is okay, I still want to show the world who the real Leo is. And by that, I mean like good and bad, so that they can understand him, so that we can build a real legacy of who Leo was and not this actor that everybody is
So,
I
but
just don't even know
saying
how to
that, Tony,
explain. They don't know who he was.
but saying that, Tony, don't you think if people knew about that thing with the girl, they would be like, oh, Leo repeated history again. What he was accused of with Lucy, he looks like he was doing it again in Thailand, and maybe that could have been what happened. I think, and I'm not saying
He's going to do it every week. That's who he is.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. All right, we could
That's who but
yeah.
but that sounds so bad because Westerners don't understand different types of relationships and different types of dynamics between men and women. And this is what he taught me. I've been a pussy whipped beta simp
Well,
my whole life.
Tony's saying that, and I want the audience to really know every human being that I spoke to ever since you've been on YouTube has only said the most kind things about you as a person to me. And my experience with you has been the same. No one has ever said one bad thing about you to me. Even your greatest enemies haven't said bad things about you that were true. So I want the audience to really know that. And I think that when you speak, people have trouble believing you because they don't see people. You always say you're the most transparent person in the industry. We're in an industry full of fake things, fake people, fake muscles, fake everything, right? So I think people have a trouble they don't understand when they see somebody like you. So I want to let the audience know that. So I know sometimes you come off, they're like, is it real or is he fake? I want the audience to know that everything I've ever heard about Tony has been real in my experience.
Yeah. Thank you. That's what my goal was from the beginning, was to be so insanely transparent, at risk to myself.
I know, but that's the
my
problem. You were
privacy.
so transparent, Tony, that ended up causing problems because some of your stories were not consistent, and people looked at it. And like I said, I know you, so I know you a little bit more than some of the other people.
Well, when you get on when you get on video for what, maybe I was on for 4 hours
Yeah.
total or something,
Yeah.
and then the editors cut a bunch of stuff out that was too private for Leo or his family and all this. So maybe if the full video wasn't edited and cut, maybe there wouldn't be inconsistencies. But I think the problem with the whole inconsistency thing is I said so much that anybody who has a very negative, cynical view can try to twist it to be inconsistent.
I mean, Tony,
But I read some of the comments of the accusations of inconsistencies, and there was no inconsistencies. If they simply asked the question, "Oh, why this?" then why that? Then I would say, oh, because this, like, you're missing one of the pieces, whether you didn't hear it or whether it's something I couldn't say, whatever. But it's very simple. It's like, instead of people making accusations, they should have just asked me.
I mean, Tony, when it happened too, like when it first happened, like I was in shock. And then when all the accusations came and pointed them at you, I was like, there is no way. The Tony I know is not capable of doing something like that. So when people made those WordPress like theories, and I'm not going to bring light to that stuff, but there was so much garbage put out. And I felt bad for what you were dealing with because you had to deal with this, your reputation's at stake. And I can't, honestly, I get to go back to the beginning, like how you're feeling, like this is a really, really, really hard situation. I can't imagine how you're dealing with this.
The hard part is that when someone dies, usually you have this time to mourn.
You can't mourn.
I never had the time to mourn
No.
like I need to go through that process psychologically. So there's a very unfinished business in my head. I started mourning multiple times, and then something exploded in my face and like interrupted the process. And it's like a process the brain has to go through. Otherwise, it's like, I don't know, it's like a clutter in my brain that's trying to figure out how to classify what happened,
Yeah,
So I'll go through that process once it's over. But I wish I could have gone through the process earlier while things are more fresh in my mind. So this is like, as far as the emotional difficulty part, this is the part.
yeah. It was funny. It was when it's not funny, but when he died. Remember, I had talked I want to come to Thailand so bad because my dream as a kid, I was obsessed with kickboxer with Van Damme. So Thailand, Bangkok, all that stuff has been my dream to go to. But when it happened, I got scared. I think Mac Truck was gonna come down too. He got scared too. We're like, shit, man, we're gonna go there.
Yeah.
We're gonna get our ass killed too if we come
Mac
visit
Truck
Tony.
was gonna come visit. Oh, that was exciting.
He got scared too.
But he had some family thing come up, and
Yeah.
then after that we just, yeah, well, then Leo came, so then I had my hands full.
Yeah, to close the Leo conversation, because I want to get into a couple other things, short things before we go. Have the you don't,
John,
yeah,
I'm not trying to avoid you on the girl stuff.
yeah.
I'll answer all your questions about it. It's just that I wanted to lay that foundation because
All right. Well, the only
otherwise
thing I
people
want to
can't
know
understand it.
about with the girl situation is, did you know about that? Obviously, I would think you did if there was in the news report, and you talked about it.
Yeah, I'm the one who. So the night before he passed away, I had one of my girlfriends, like, it's not a girlfriend, it's another type of thing, maybe hard for people to understand, but it's like a girlfriend because I've been seeing her for so long, maybe a year and a half or something. And it's like when I go out and I see her, I take her home with me. And if I don't, it's, you can go out and you see a bunch of girls you've been with before, and you pick whichever one you're in the mood for.
Of course,
that
yeah.
night, right?
Well, I wish I had
So
those in Jersey. We got nothing over here, but go ahead.
So I brought her home, and then Leo was downstairs and brought her in, and he saw her, and he's like, "Oh my God, she's beautiful." And I was like, "Really? Like, so this is the one you like?" I'm confused because this is like a really ethnic looking girl.
Was
Like,
she
she's
Thai? Was she?
super Asian
Oh,
looking.
she was Thai because he doesn't like those.
Actually, she's Laos.
Uh huh.
Similar. Laos, actually, the way Laos look, I really like the way Laos look, but there's not a lot of Laos girls available. So, anyways, she's Laos, speaks Thai, lived in Thailand forever, but from Laos. So, yeah, I had her there, and there's two things about her that are spectacular. Like, her parts of her body are like 10 out of 10, and her voice is mesmerizing. Her voice is like, just can't get any better. So I wanted him to hear her voice. So whenever I bring new girls over, I show them to him, and get his approval, because I wanted to try to upgrade the harem with girls that he liked, that he's attracted to. So he liked this one, and he approved of this one, and he wanted me to turn this one into a harem girl. And I got excited because I was like, oh my God, okay, if he found an Asian girl, it's not easy to get him to find an Asian girl he likes. He did find some he liked. He didn't hate all Asian girls, most, but there was some he liked. So this one, he liked, so he was so excited. So I was taking her clothes off and letting him play with her a little bit and stuff to get him, as kind of a treat to my friend, because I'm super open. Actually, I tried to share it. Yeah, I tried to share a lot of my girls with him, but he didn't want.
You're a nice guy, man. I'm too jealous. I can't do that.
I think I did share some of my. I think he did actually take me up on some of my girls, but anyways, this one I didn't really want to share this one with him, like have sex with her, but like I wanted him to feel her up,
Yeah.
and just like get excited about her,
Yeah.
and so yeah, he got super excited, and he's like, "Oh man, he asked her, do you have any friends that are like you? Like, are there more of you? Where are you? Where did you come from, and where are more of you?"
Yeah.
And she said, "Yeah, I have friends." And she's "Here, you want, like, here's a picture of my friend." And he's like, "Oh my God, yeah, she's hot." He's like, I'm like, "You want her?" And he's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Okay, I'll get her for you."
Yeah.
So I said, "Yeah, here, negotiate it, and then, get her to come over." So yeah, she came over, and then yeah, she went with him, and I'm in my room with my girl, and he's in his room with his girl, and I can, hear screaming
Yeah.
and noises and stuff, and it's a little scary because this is a little bit more than normal. I mean, there's definitely screams that come from his room, but this is like next level screaming. This is like, I don't think this is okay screaming.
Yeah.
So I was pretty nervous about it, but like you don't like I don't want to disturb Leo's privacy during certain times. Like certainly when he's with a girl, I don't want to like interrupt, and I don't know what's going on. And so, but later she comes out to my room to talk to my girl when she's done in his room, and she's crying, and she's holding her neck like she can't breathe, and just kind of a mess. And I knew what happened, but I had my girl talk to her and then explain to me what happened. And I said, okay, we need to calm this down right now before someone calls the police. So I said, please, please make sure your friend's comfortable. I'll pay whatever it takes. Just, just make her calm. So my girl calmed her down and like held her. And after about 5 minutes of my girl calming her down, she was fine. Then she was like happy and laughing and funny. So I made some videos of her like being happy. So, when if she went to the police later, I could show like, okay, when she left the house, it was okay.
Yeah.
So it can't be that bad, to try to kind of protect ourselves. So then, she left, and my girl stayed all night and into the morning. And my girl was there with Leo. So it was Leo, me, my girl in the morning downstairs. And in the morning, it was, actually that night, Leo, I was like looking at Leo, like, are you going to tell me what's going on here? Like,
Because you heard it, you obviously know some shit went on. You want to know if he's gonna say anything or what he's gonna say.
yeah. So he said, oh man, that girl's crazy. She just started screaming for no reason. She wouldn't stop screaming. I had to try to get her to stop screaming. So I was like, trying to quiet her down. And she was, I mean, her side of the story is she was screaming, and he was trying to like choke her to stop her from screaming. And it just made her scream more. So that's what his argument was. I mean, she wasn't drunk, but maybe she's crazy, so I don't think she's crazy. I just think she'd never been in this situation before. I think she was just freaked out because she'd never been with like a more masculine, aggressive guy. And I'm not I haven't said anything about like whether what I think is bad or good.
Yeah.
But I will say that the way Leo was with women works.
Yeah.
It works. I mean, this is some kind of the red pill stuff
Yeah.
that I wanted him to talk about more, because although I never saw it go to that extreme, I did see a lot of it. And it was interesting because in my situation, I'm the one being abused by the women. And Leo said it's because I'm not
Because you're too
using my
easy. Yeah,
masculine
you're too
power to
yeah.
keep them in check.
You're too easy
And
go.
so he's keeping the women in check, and I'm not keeping them. And which one's better? What, like, his way is the Muslim way, or whatever the Middle Eastern thing is what he says, and my way is the Western.
I mean,
whatever Catholic. and
Tony,
Hinduism way.
in the Middle Eastern countries, if you have a daughter and she went and had sex before marriage, they have the right to kill the daughter. If the woman cheats on the husband, they have a right to kill her. It's a very different world.
Yeah.
Very different world. So, and I know he's American. He was actually born here, but he spent most of his time with his father in, I think, Saudi Arabia. So that mentality is with him, So thank dude.
So like these lessons that I got from him are the lessons that I wanted him to teach. Now, he didn't have to be an influencer to go to that extreme and like promote this type of behavior, but at the same time, man, I watched in person, and his way worked.
Yeah,
I
but you
mean,
know
it
what
depends
though? It
on
was
what you're
too
looking
extreme.
for, but his way worked better than mine.
Yeah,
He's
but
no
no, I
woman's
know.
gonna use him.
I know,
That's for
but it was
sure,
too extreme from the things that were obviously I'm hearing now, and like all of the situations with women in the past. It's a little too extreme, and
It depends on the woman. It depends on the
yeah,
culture.
it depends
I'm
on.
not trying to defend this.
Yeah,
I'm just saying people
yeah,
need to understand there are
yeah.
different cultures, and there's different perspectives, and just your perspective isn't right or wrong. You need to understand all the different perspectives.
So Tony, thanks for talking about that because again, I didn't know about this, and I know people didn't know about this. Perrin found, and he did a good job in having it translate to find out. So I appreciate you discussing it. Um, and the last thing I wanted to talk about, which is actually, I just thought about something. If you want to address this real quick, I'm not talking about a long, we can have a whole hour conversation. This may be a time, maybe one day we're going to do a documentary together on your life. This could be something we could talk about, your family, and I'm not going to even mention his name or how he's related to you, but one of your family members has been bombing my comment section and a bunch of other channels. He actually recently did an interview, and I don't want to get into it at all. All I want to ask you is, why would a family member like want to come and like gossip about you? What do you think motivated him? And I don't want to, again, I don't want you to go into it too long, but like if you could just address it, I'm sure you have things to say about it because I think you're probably not going to be happy about what he did.
Yeah, I haven't talked to him in I don't know how long. Is it 10 years, 15 years? Long
And wait,
time.
before you even say anything, the things that he was saying were petty things. When I say gossip, to me, personal things, private things between family members should never be put out online. So I didn't agree with what he did. Now go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, like if I'm a family member going to talk about another family member, at least I'd call them and ask permission
Of
or
course,
something like
yeah.
that. But that's not his. He's a very different type of person. Very, very opposite of me. And you had sort of, I mean, the way I see it is you had different. How do I, without like blowing up the whole thing?
Yeah.
He likes he he likes attention,
Actually, I could tell, yeah.
and he likes drama. You know, like a lot of people like attention, like drama. He does. Some people don't. He does. And this is an opportunity for attention and drama. And actually, like I don't care so much about what he does or doesn't do. Like it's a little maybe a little bit annoying when he says something negative because
Yeah.
he's saying some negative things, but they're not too crazy.
I mean,
I'm
you
just
could
talking
dig
about
through
my
any.
childhood.
I
He
mean,
hasn't
look,
even,
Tony.
he never even knew Dr. Tony
Yeah.
Huge. Like since I've been Tony Huge, I haven't even talked to him. So
Yeah, he said that he didn't even know you were famous. He looked you up, saw that you're famous, and then there he is making fascinated with your life. And to me, I mean, you
Yeah.
could go to anyone's life. You can go to previous girlfriends, family members. You could find someone who has an agenda on somebody to come on and make gossip. But I didn't agree with that. I would thank you for addressing that. Now, Tony, before we go, okay, two more things. If you can go back, because you were a very successful lawyer, okay, very successful. And I actually was going to go into law and then I didn't, but that's what I wanted to do too. So I respect what it takes to be a
you
lawyer.
look sharp in a suit.
Thank you. Yeah, I should have, I'm good at, I think I would have been good at like criminal defense attorney. That's what I wanted to do. Like, that was my
Actually,
dream.
yeah, your style is like a hot shot criminal
Yeah,
defense attorney.
that's what I
Yeah.
wanted to do. But you know what? That's why I give you credit. The law school and the tests you got to do is like, it was just too much for me. But so I respect that. But if you could go back to day one, you were already successful. You came to YouTube to educate people on fitness. You really love fitness. It's a big part of your life. If you could go back and change anything that you've done from that point on, what would it be?
Huh. Interesting.
Because you were already successful. Now you're not private. You don't have a private life anymore. You already had all the money in the world. Okay. You didn't have to do any of this. Now, all of this is things you have to deal with now, your life, right? If you could go change anything about any of it, what would it be that you would change? I know it's a hard question.
Huh.
Like, would it be you're so open, you put your private life out? Because
Yeah, I guess I didn't need to put my private life out in order. I thought, okay, yeah, here I'll explain. I can explain now. I think what I would do differently if if I knew then what I knew now, I would have realized that people's, especially in the Western world, perception of reality and culture is so far off from my reality that I okay, if I never got censored, I could have I could have continued being doing showing the intimate details of my
because
life
it's very
and
entertaining, Tony. It's
people would
very
understand
entertaining.
the context.
Yeah.
The problem is when my channel gets deleted and then now they lose all the context of what I'm doing, the foundation and how it got to where it was. Now they can't understand what I'm doing now, and I can't with the as people's attention span shrinks, it's harder to take them on this journey to completely change the way they think about things, because if someone spends time with me in person, their value system will completely change, their beliefs about the world will completely change, everything will change. I will show them what it's like outside the matrix. I'll show them that their beliefs and everything they know about everything is just based on what they've been spoon fed to be manipulated. And like, even I say that, it sounds like a conspiracy theory. But if anybody who spends time with me in person, they'll understand. Because when I'm in person, I can show them what I'm talking about and they'll see it and they'll experience my life is like nothing. It's like nothing they've ever imagined before. So they have to see it to believe it, I guess. And showing it on a video, they just don't understand the context. They're viewing everything through their lenses
Yeah.
that they're viewing through lenses that aren't even their lenses. They're lenses that Western society gave them, or the media gave them, or whatever. So I would have gone back and I would have told myself I needed to build a stronger foundation to help people understand the context of what I do, and to not show the details of my life until they understood that foundation. Almost like a membership site.
So
in order to get
I
my
got a
out of the
better
matrix
idea. I got a
content.
better idea for you. As we're talking, I'm like, dude, Tony needs a real documentary, like to show all of this. Since you've been censored so much, like imagine a true documentary on the person you are, not so much the sensationalism on everything surrounding like what you do, but more of getting to know who you really are. So that is basically out there for everyone to watch all the time. This might be something we could talk about, one day. So that way, the
Even in a
foundation is there.
documentary,
Yeah.
you're very good at the documentaries.
Thank
So
you.
if anybody could do it, you could. But
Yeah.
it is a challenge in
Yes.
90 minutes
Yeah.
to even change someone's complete perspective about something. It takes more than that. I mean, for example, Connor's been with me for 2 months now, and I'd say I've got him like, I'd say I've got him like 50% of the way there to understand
I was
how
just
things
gonna
really work.
I was just gonna ask you, is he there in the Philippines with you now?
Yeah, he's right here.
Oh, actually, yeah, get him on camera.
Yeah, you can come over.
Hello,
Connor, how are you,
Mr.
buddy?
Bravo. Hello, viewers. How are you guys? Yeah.
Thanks, Connor, for coming on. How do you like the Philippines? You're gonna find a wife there. I know you're looking for a wife, a good girl, not the sharmutas so much running around in Thailand. What do you think? What do you think about it over there?
John, I'm not in the best mood. I had probably the worst massage I've ever had in my life today.
No happy
You
ending?
know? It's like, well, they avoided my dick like the bubonic plague.
That's not a good
Mine
one.
I mean,
too.
it was wild.
Yeah, it was
in
terrible.
Thailand, even if you're not getting a happy ending, they'll tease you a little
Yeah.
bit, rub really close on your inner thighs, maybe
Yeah.
give you one or two like free strokes.
Yeah.
They just avoided it completely, and it really bummed me out. So I'm like missing Thailand.
It might have had something to do with the fact that our girlfriend was in the same room with us.
Yeah.
I think they're
So they got
paranoid that
scared.
the girl's gonna get jealous.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we got to get her a separate room next time.
Yeah.
But I wanted her in the same room because I'm trying to encourage this lesbian stuff, and I thought, and group stuff, and I thought I told him to be aggressive about getting a happy ending. That way, we can warm up the whole because you got to do things like this to
Yeah.
warm up to the grand finale, you know. So but like they didn't even get close to it.
No,
So
I
how
wouldn't.
could
I
he
wouldn't have
even
been
ask for
happy.
a
I
little
would
awkward?
not have been happy. You go to a massage, you're thinking they're gonna make you feel good at the end. You know, you want to leave with the happiness because it's a happy ending. But they didn't give you nothing. I feel bad. I feel bad, Connor. Connor, it's good you actually you're on camera. I want this.
I feel bad too because I'm the one who brought him there, and I'm trying to like give him best experiences, and then I failed. So I will make up for it though.
I'm sure, yeah.
tonight or tomorrow.
Connor, that you're on here too. I want to let people know Connor put out a really good video, and it was edited and put together like a documentary, and I was very impressed with the editing and with everything. So if you guys haven't watched it, please go to Connor's channel and watch it. I think you did a great job on that, Connor.
Appreciate it, man. Yeah, thank you.
And then also, now that you're on too, what's the next step for both of you? Because now you're obviously your YouTube channel's gone, Tony. Connor's is still there. What's the next step in your guys' plan?
Well, Connor wants to do more Ladyboy stuff, but I love the Ladyboy stuff. But honestly, I'm the one trying to hold him back.
Yeah.
You know, this is so crazy because so many people tell me like, "Oh, Tony, if you just stop doing Ladyboy stuff and you focus on the chemical enhancement and the biohacking and the education you can give and don't like distract it with all this crazy stuff that could turn off a lot of the audience." On the other hand, like the Ladyboys for me was a tool to help people change their perspective about things, not to convince them like not for the superficial stuff.
So
but for
now
the
you
deeper
got
meaning.
Connor addicted to the Ladyboys. Now he's not going to shut up about it.
I didn't even know what a ladyboy was until I met Tony, and now it's like mind blown.
Wait, are you serious?
No, I'm just kidding.
But you've been with a Ladyboy before here, right?
Not maybe like one.
maybe
not a
maybe
lot.
like one. Is it one or is it none?
So you
Well, I mean, what do you count as being with one? You know what I mean? Like that experience in Austin where I met one on the side of the road, and she let me feel her up a little bit.
on the
Does that
side
count
of the
as
road.
being,
Connor, I got to
one
interview
penetration?
you next on these stories because these sound fascinating to me. You met a tree on the side of the road and what? I don't even want.
Whoa! Nobody said anything about it.
Whoa, yeah, you can't use that word, all right?
Oh, you can't use that
Ladyboy,
word.
That's the proper term.
Oh, that's not the proper
Well, I
word.
guess ladyboy.
No. There's a
refers-
big difference between a Ladyboy.
Well, a ladyboy, I guess, only refers to the transgenders in Thailand. But I met a beautiful transgender.
No, I think to me, Ladyboy is when you can't tell the difference.
Are they going to censor me
like-
now because I said that word?
I think it's fine.
Yeah.
Maybe bleep it out. That'd be
Dude,
fine,
it's
yeah.
crazy. You can't even curse on here anymore. I have to take out my curses, and cursing is my favorite thing. I can't even curse. It's horrible. You know, we gotta. It's so strict, Tony. That's why they took down your channel. You know what I mean? It's like you can't do anything here anymore. So now you're going to be going on Rumble, or you already having Rumble actually.
Yeah, I have a Rumble, and there's a lot of videos on there. And the question is whether or not I invest the time and energy to make some new, crazy, uncensored content. Because again, it's like if I'm giving up my privacy, I want to make sure it's having enough of an impact. It's helping enough people.
The
I know it
views on
sounds
there are
crazy,
nothing
help-
to like what we're used to, so it's hard. Everyone, it's simple for
That's the
people to
problem.
say. People are always like, "Oh yeah, just go to Rumble. You could do whatever you want there," but they don't understand. When you don't see the views, you're not motivated to make the content because of how much work goes into it. That people, the audience, they don't understand. You know.
But I did have a lot of other influencers message me when my channel went down saying that I should get over to Rumble and that they understand it doesn't have a lot of views now.
It will.
But since YouTube's become so fascist that a lot of them are going to be going over to Rumble. So the more of them, like let's say Chris and Mark Bell, for example, are going to go over to Rumble. So the more of the people in our niche go over there, then the more of the audience will start looking there for uncensored content.
Yep.
Because like our whole niche is just not that educational or interesting with the censorship. And like this is all stuff, the stuff we talk about is uncensored stuff. It belongs on an uncensored platform, but it's going to take more people going over there until there's enough traffic, bigger influencers. Andrew Tate went over there. So that brought a lot of the Red Pill community there. That's helpful.
And now he's out, so he's going to be making content. So Rumble's probably just going to grow, you know. So that's an option. But listen, if there's anything I could do on my end to help you guys out, let me know. And listen, I want to thank you so much for all the time. I think we answered at least all the questions I had, and I think what most people had. And I really appreciate you coming on here.
Oh, John, I should give my Telegram link.
Okay, yeah, go
You
ahead.
can put it.
I can
I
put it on
have
the
a
screen.
Telegram, uncensored Telegram group.
Okay.
Well, I don't know what it's called. I just put it in the link in your description so
Okay.
people can click it.
Will do.
But it's also on the web. I have a landing page website that has links to all the stuff.
Okay.
It's tonyhuge.is. So they could go to tonyhuge.is and then click whatever links to my stuff on there. And then that way they can get uncensored updates from me.
All right. Well, thank you guys, and hopefully, like I said, hopefully this helps people understand more of you, of the person that you are, and the reasonings as to why you've said the things you've said, and shed some light on the Leo situation. So thank you.
Yeah, and in the future, if there's questions or inconsistencies, just ask. I will explain it. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
A sweet revival.